And we're on the road. You ripper. G'day guys, Todd here from Off-Road Crusader. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are in the middle of nowhere, to be honest. Never been on this road before. This is our first big adventure for the year and I'm super duper excited. I've decided I'm going to share it with you because this is probably the spirit of adventure, would probably be the title of this video, I imagine. The premise of this video is we're going to be exploring a few different places in the southwest of WA. These are all going to be places that I've never been before, and I imagine probably a vast majority of my viewers would never have been before either. And as far as I'm aware, there's really not much on YouTube regarding their locations. We are heading out to a starting point for the adventure, I suppose you could call it, is east of a place called Manjimup in the southwest of WA. Between Manjimup and the next town along, Mount Barker, there's nothing. There's nothing out there. But that's sometimes the best place to look for those hidden gems and to start adventures, is exploring and looking in places which no one's really explored and looked before. I mean, there's farms and bits and pieces out that way, so of course people have been out there, but hey, no one's been forward driving and camping there yet, as far as I can tell, so I'm going to be the first one. Something. Anyway, so the plan is that we're going to find our little starting point along a river out here. We're then going to travel south through the forest, hopefully ending up at a few little scenic locations towards the little town of Walpole. From there, we're going to head to the coast. We're going to follow the coast for a little while. There's a number of little spots which I really want to go and check out, and it's just me on this trip, which is fantastic. Me, Phoenix the cruiser. I've got the altitude tent on the roof. I'm full of diesel. I'm full of food, full of fuel, full of scotch, and full of excitement for whatever this trip's going to take. So come along, join on the trip. There's going to be a ratio of things which go right and the things that go wrong. I'm already calling that early because that's just the nature of these things, and I can't wait to jump into it. This is what I absolutely froth on doing, and yeah, come for the drive. Where are we going to go? I don't know, but let's go together. Onwards to the spirit of adventure. I've been following this track for ages now. I've had to stop, clear some trees, pull some stuff out of the way. Very tight going. Thank God I have the bush barriers on. And we've come across our first real showstopper, which is this log, which of course on camera never looks big, but it's about a foot and a half high, which is probably not too bad. The problem is the width. It's about a wheelbase in width. And the downside with that is I can easily get over this first section, but as soon as my front wheels drop down over there, my front wheels are going to start to climb there and I'm going to belly out on this log. Now, alternatives for getting around this. I could probably cut down about 2 dozen trees to build a track on that side. Not interested. Don't like cutting down trees where I don't need to. On this side is very thick scrub. And in order to find a way through the scrub, I'd have to venture about I think it was about 60 or 70 meters into the bush and then come back around. And there's another tree down over there, which isn't too bad, but it's another blockage. So I'm at a bit of an impasse of what to do. And I've kind of had a bit of a think about it. I'm going to bridge this and make it so that I can drive over the top. And how I'm going to do that, hopefully I can show you. Can you see this side? It's got a bit of a undercut to it. It's a bit higher. I'm going to cut that with my chainsaw, cut the top section out, and that should just push over and roll. This wood is very dry and brittle, so if I cut a section and then just give it a good whack, that should fall over and make the departure angle from over this log much nicer. And as soon as I'm over that, this log here, I can actually drive around this on this side. Fair bit of a cambered angle, but that's what you got to do. And the good thing is from there, the track actually looks really nice and clean. so we should be able to make good time. So I'm going to set the camera up. You can watch me cut this thing and drive over it. Watch this. Yeah. Excellent. Well, that went better than I expected. Straight through, love it. Cool, now we're on the easy side of the track, supposedly, until the next one. That was pretty wicked, glad I got to do it. This little Ryobi chainsaw has been fantastic. I've had it now for coming up to 3 years, I think it is. And definitely something I always keep with me now. I keep it in my bin bag in the back of the car. Just that, it's got oil and stuff in it. I don't want it going all in the inside of the cruiser. Sits in there nicely, that comes down. Don't even know it's there, which is great, and it means whenever I need to use it, it is just quick and accessible. I don't have to dig through the stuff in the back of the car. So let's keep moving.
2 hours later.
Well, I'm calling it. Stopping every 100 meters, every 50 meters, and clearing logs and stuff. It's hard work. I'm about halfway on this road, and it just keeps getting harder. I'll show you what's in front of me. Look. So there's this log, which is not the end of the world. I could easily cut that down, but the problem is all the way down there the bush just gets thicker and thicker. It's reclaimed this track, and I'm not keen on spending the next 24 hours trying to cut a path through. We're just going to try and get to our destination. It's too hot and sweaty to be doing this stuff. Snakes and all sorts of stuff that luckily I haven't found yet, but Murphy's Law, I keep going, I'll eventually find one. So we're going to back up, turn around, and find another way through. Well, it's worth poking your head down some tracks sometimes. Just come to this nice little clearing just off the highway, literally just a little tiny sign. Turn down this track, fire pit, someone's been here recently, and you got some river frontage. Obviously there's people that take care of this place. These posts are not normally there. Obviously there's a bin and a lovely bit of water. Probably would be good for fishing, I'd guess. Good for a swim, kayak. It's pretty yucky at the moment. The water's very, very low. I imagine when it's at full flow, it'd probably come up and meet this log, would rise about 2 meters, but we'll have to come back in winter and find out. Anyway, just this tiny little campsite at the end of a track. Explore and discover where the road ends. This is what you find. Beauty. Let's keep rolling. That down there behind me is Lake Muir. It is a massive looking thing, very dry and looking a bit sad at the moment, but is obviously very important for farming around here. As I've come towards Lake Muir, I've noticed more and more cattle farms. There's heaps and heaps of cattle farms around here. So I'm guessing that all the groundwater that this lake provides is very good for the cattle and gives a very good place to obviously farm. As you can see, it's reasonably flat. There's nothing too peaky about it. Plenty of bush that's been cleared. I imagine when Lake Muir's nice and full, it would be full of water and bird life and that sort of stuff. But even now, this is the wettest place that you can get in this area, just because the groundwater all eventually ends up down this way. And even though it isn't at the surface, it would still be under the ground, and keeping a lot of these trees and a lot of the pastures a little bit greener than everywhere else around it. So awesome to finally be able to come down here and have a look. So from here, we're heading further south. We're following this dirt road as far as it'll go, pretty much. We're going to follow it all the way down. We're going to end up down in the forest. There's some awesome little landmarks that I've taken point of, and I think you guys might like to have a look at as well. So come along, let's keep moving. Fantastic. I love exploring. This is awesome. This is so cool. Right, we've just pulled up on the side of the road. We're still probably another hour or so away from camp, and I thought I'd start getting dinner ready, which sounds a bit crazy. I've got my old mate here, the travel buddy. I've had that preheating now for the last half hour just to get it up to temperature. So in here I've got the full-sized tray with a little trivet thing on the bottom, and on that we are going to heat up our dinner, or cook our dinner I should say. So what we're having for dinner is beef brisket. These are like a ready-made brisket bag thing that you're meant to just cook up at home, but they are perfect for the travel buddy, because all you have to do is really just heat them through. Cook them a little bit, but mainly just heat them through. And the only alternative to that is to put them in a fry pan, and I don't really want to fry them, if that makes sense. Like, I want it all nice and soft and juicy and all that sort of stuff. So we're going to cook it up in the travel buddy and make it all nice and warm. So to do this, because it's a trivet and I don't want to get completely messy, I've got some aluminium foil. I'm going to line the bottom of it with aluminium foil, as many layers as I can. And what this does, obviously stops it all from leaking through, but it means it's much easier to clean up afterwards. Oh, it's camping, you know, it shouldn't matter too much, but it's camping, and I'm probably going to want to try and reuse this travel buddy, and I yeah, don't want to have to sit there and scrub out all my dishes all the time. So the easier I can make it, the better. Empty that into here. Oh, that smells good. And it's sort of it's a good size as well, because it's just enough for one person. If you're building a cart for camping and touring and that sort of stuff, if you can, find a way to integrate onboard water. Just makes the world so much easier. I'll fold the corners a bit to try and keep the juices in as much as possible. There we go, make a little bundle. I'll pop him back in. I've got my travel buddy at about 160, 170 degrees. Pop that in there. I'm going to put it on for, let's put 90 minutes. That'll ding and turn itself off, and then we should be ready to go. I've got some veggies to cook up to go with it for dinner as well, but hopefully we're at a nice little campsite by then and not on the side of a gravel road. So I'm going to pack this up. Let's keep moving. So I've started my hike to the summit, which is the summit of Mount Franklin, which is a pretty significant spot in this area. Fantastic area. This is part of the Walpole Wilderness Reserve down here in the southern area of WA. Absolutely fantastic. And this is one of the highest peaks you can actually climb to. Wow, look at this, I'll show you. So this is the Towerman's hut. Gentleman used to live here long ago, back in the 50s, and from here he would live, climb to the summit of Mount Franklin, which is that way, check for fires, check the weather conditions, come back down here and get cozy again. Wow, this is, imagine living out here on your own, it'd be amazing. Tiny little space. Fire pit though. It'd be cold out here in winter. Some amazing. So the track's getting pretty steep. You think, must be near there. You look up. Whoa! That's massive. Alright, we're nearly there. And you know it's serious when it says that. Do not proceed if you are faint of heart or foolhardy. I've never been called those things. Far out. Let's go. Just keeps going. I feel like I'm taking the ring to Mordor. Holy moly. What a climb. There's more. Look how high we are up already. Nearly there. And there it is. The watchtower. Not the watchtower of Armonsul, but the watchtower of Mount Franklin, which isn't quite as romantic. We're up a bit high. Wow, we came from that way. If you can see it with that tiny peak in the distance. I drove past that about half an hour ago. Far out. The view from up here is stunning and the wind is ridiculous. Far out. So much visibility from up here. South Coast fashion, it looks like it's raining over there. It was 36 degrees when I left home, and now I need a warm rain jacket. This is amazing. Wow. I thought about bringing the drone up here to get some shots, but I'm glad I didn't. It would have just blown straight back to the coast. Wow. We're going that way. There's a tiny spike of a tower down there. That's where we're heading. See if we can get there before the sun goes down. Wicked! This is amazing. Let's roll. Well, we're against it now. The sun's setting, we're in the bush. Dusk is not a good time to be in the bush, especially if you're driving, because all the kangaroos like to jump out in front of you. And ideally I'd like to be at camp, but we have one more place to find and have a look at, and then hopefully we're going to head for the coast. So I'll see you soon. It'll probably be dark. Let's go. So this little slice of paradise down here is called Fernbrook Falls. It's about 12 k's down the road from Mount Franklin, and you can imagine when the water's flowing through here, it'd be absolutely majestic. Right now it is bone dry. Up in the bush there's a heap of campsites and day use areas. Single lane bridge, dusty cruiser, the way out. I think I'm going to keep driving and see if I can find a campsite. See you at camp, fellas. Yes, river crossing. Oh wait, no, it's dry. We'll take it. We are still crossing the river, even though we're not driving through water. There's the water. There's no water. Let's keep going. Wicked. Hey guys, welcome to camp. You finally made it. I'm not going to tell you where we are, where we ended up. It's going to be a surprise for the morning. I can just tell you that this campsite is not where I plan to be tonight. I wanted to go somewhere I'd camped previously and I absolutely loved, and I always said if I'm down this way I will go back there. But that wasn't what this trip was about. This is about going to brand new places, places I've never been before, such as here. And I've got to say, coming into here, I mean, I only saw this place in the absolute last 5 minutes of light of the day. And I can already tell you this is probably my top 3 campsites ever. Like it's amazing. I literally nearly got bogged about 30 meters that way, and I really want to show you it in the morning. So anyway, look, I'm making dinner. As you know, I've got the beef brisket happening in the oven. I'm just warming that up so it's nice and crispy. I've got some veggies that I'm just pan frying to make them nice and warm. Induction cooktop makes things so much easier. On 800 watts, it's drawing about 70 amps or so. It's really not much for the 5 minutes it needs to be on. It's fantastic. Don't have to worry about the wind blowing flames out and that sort of thing. And yeah, I think it's going to be a great night. Johnny Walker, you ripper. Cheers, Warren. Hope you're having a drink, mate. In the morning, I'm going to try and wake up nice and early and capture some awesome shots of where we are at the moment. And you can see why this is probably in my top 3 of my favorite campsites of all time. Then tomorrow, we've got more exploring. I can't wait to show you guys where we end up. Cheers, guys. I'll see you in the morning. Thanks. Well, good morning all. Welcome back to camp. Fantastic night last night. So quiet out here. There's that perfect bit of breeze. It was amazing. We're going to start the day off with the breakfast of champions, hash browns, bacon and eggs, before doing a little bit of prep and then heading off for more adventure today. Where are we today? We are at Broke Inlet. Not the actual inlet though. We're actually at the estuary, I suppose you'd call it. This is the northernmost point of the inlet, of the estuary. I've never been here before, but I sort of noticed it on a map and went, that'd be a cool place to check out. And I'm so glad I did. There's the main spot where you pull up, and then there's a little side bonus track to get to this exact campsite here, which isn't without its challenges. There's some water to cross. It's all fresh water, thankfully. But yeah, it's not one of those things where you just jump into it willy-nilly. I had to do a fair bit of recon before figuring out how I was going to do it, but we got here anyway. The thing that blows me away with this campsite is just how quiet it is. No man-made sound anywhere except for me and all this stuff, which is fantastic because it gives a real sense of, I want to say isolation, but also just calm. There's no nothing external working on you. It's fantastic. Gonna keep making my breakfast, have this amazing cup of tea. I'll show you around camp and then we'll get going. back on the road. We are on Chesapeake Road, not Cheapsake Road as I used to call it, and basically starting to head west from here. Chesapeake Road really probably gives you the most bang for buck in terms of like spectacular places to see, especially down this way. And it's a hard compacted gravel road. It's well used, and there's lots of little side tracks to tickle your fancy and go and explore. It cuts through a range of different places. You can go through a big karri forest, you can go through swampy marshlands, you can go through normal jarrah bushland. It's fantastic the amount of variety you get from driving down this way. It's still very dry. I'm down here at sort of like the end of summer, early autumn, that sort of thing, and everything's very dry, but it's still so green down here. It's still so full of life, which really shows you just how much rain this place gets on a yearly basis. So we're going to cruise along Chesapeake Road, not Cheapsake Road, for a little while. We're going to end up checking out Fish Creek. There used to be Fish Creek Hut, which I absolutely loved going to. We've been a number of times over the years with both the Prado and the 200, and yeah, the hut is gone now. The hut has been removed. One of the government departments decided that it was a hazard or whatever the reasoning would be and tore it down, which was very sad and I don't agree with, but is what it is. And I'd love to go there and see it without the hut and just enjoy the actual scenery of it, because it's an amazing place. From there we're going to try and follow the coast north and hopefully end up at the Gardner River mouth, and from there we're going to then start to head north, move through some different bushland, and I'll show you some more places. So I'm going to keep cruising, you keep following along, let's go.
A few moments later.
Well, our first bit of serious bad luck, I suppose you'd call it. I've just been checking out this little road down here, which is a side track to Chesapeake Road. Supposedly leads to a nice little creek campsite, and from the looks of it, a bulldozer's been through at some point. But the road is very, or track I should say, very narrow, very overgrown, lots of trees right next to it. And that's what the bush barriers are for, but unfortunately sometimes we still have issues. So got the tools out. So I've had to pull the door off, which looks crazy, but it's really not too bad once you know what you're doing, because I busted the mirror. It took a fair old whack, made a big noise, all the plastics came off. Luckily enough I kept all the plastics and they clipped all back in. Most of it's just cosmetic, but the downside is, you see those two studs? There's meant to be three. That one. And that's snapped off, or sheared off of that plate there. So I'm not quite sure the best way to fix it, because with it just flapping around, it makes a bit of noise and it rattles. So I don't know, maybe I'll try and fix it, maybe I won't. From what I can tell, these studs are like pressed in or screwed into the plastic, and I don't think just super gluing it on is going to make a difference. So yeah, you can see the car's looking pretty battered. Solar panel on the roof took a big hit as well. Luckily it's not broken. Had a number of massive logs and sticks stuck underneath the car, which luckily didn't cause any damage, but after much examination I've determined that there's not really much I can do. I've bolted it on, I've done the bolts up nice and tight, the ones that are remaining, and it seems to hold decently well. There's still a bit of play in it. I don't know if you can see that. That's going to wobble while I'm driving, but there's nothing I can do at the moment. Either we get a replacement part or I make up a bracket or something when I get home. I'll figure it out, but for now, can't do anything else. Put it back together, let's keep going. I'm on the track now to Fish Creek, and yeah, there's a fire out here. Well, there was a big bushfire out here. You can see the evidence from very far away. But even now, driving through here, you can still smell it, and every now and then you come across a little patch of smouldering logs and bits and pieces, and the thing will just slowly put itself out. But yeah, it's a very stark reminder, because even the track I'm on at the moment, one side is completely burnt and the other side is untouched. So this must have been a containment line, or maybe it was just the edge of where the fire even got to. But yeah, it's a bit eerie. bit eerie. And this is what is left of Fish Creek Hut. Used to be a big awesome hut where that pile of sand is. Now it's just this generic looking thing. Little water tank, little hideaway. Some information signs telling you not to be a silly head. Yeah. Very strange seeing this place without the hut. See another visitor here. Man has good taste. Pine tree's still there. Alright, let's keep moving. Yeah, Fish Creek Hut. Good to come back and see it. Definitely not as magical as it used to be with that that old hut there from the 60s. But it would still offer you a nice refuge in the if you come down here fishing and the storm came through. Nice little spot to hide away. Anyway, we're going to keep going, keep heading north. We're going to go up to, I think it's called Moore's Hut or Mundalup Hut, or the next one further up, and hop on the beach and have a bit of a drive. I really want to go to the Gardner River mouth. I've been there once before, and we just flew past it because the weather was horrible. And I always said I want to come back and have another look and actually explore the place a little bit, because apparently there's a little bit to see there. But unfortunately, the weather today has really turned. It's gone all overcast and windy, and it hasn't rained yet, but yeah, it's just not as nice as I thought it would be. That's alright, we're still going to go there and have a look around. The cruise is nice and comfy. The tracks around here, you sort of ideally want to be in low range. Most of them are fairly compacted. You'll find spots of soft sand, but I think in low range it allows you to, it forces you to slow down and just soak in the scenery and to look around and be present, and I suppose keep an eye out for things. I mean, if you're flying along here in high range, you can do, you definitely can fly through here in high range, but you spend that much time and effort to get to this place that you want to kind of enjoy it and see it and soak it in. So put yourself in low range when you get out here, take it slower, cruise, enjoy. It's so much nicer, you'll remember it, and yeah, it's such a nice thing. So yeah, anyway, so we're heading north now, cruising along another little sandy track. I'll let you know when you get to the beach. Doesn't look nice out there, does it? It's very, very windy now. It's definitely starting to pick up, getting a bit more choppy. The clouds are getting a little bit darker, and yeah, I want to keep moving. Anyway, we got down to the beach. I'm just dropping the tire pressures down a bit more. I'm going to go down to 16 for this beach. It's not really a place I want to get bogged, because you can easily see how it could turn into a bit of a nightmare to end up sitting around waiting for someone to help you. So I'm going to finish off doing this last tyre. We're going to go that way until we find a river mouth. All right, cruising on the beach now, which is always nice. And the beach does look good, actually. I wondered whether or not it might be a little bit short, but this isn't winter time. Especially in winter, you get all the storms come through and the cold fronts, and they eat all the sand away from the beaches and make it very difficult to drive on. But it looks pretty good at the moment, so we're just going to keep driving and see what we come up against. I'm cruising along with the, obviously in low range, got the center diff lock on, second start, which helps you to not get bogged down in the sand as easy. And also I turned the traction control off because I find that the Toyota traction control really cuts into your acceleration, especially on the sand. And sometimes you need that bit of extra oomph. And I think the traction control cuts in and basically says, nope, too much wheel spin. And it actually cuts out the throttle and makes you bog down even further. So it's good to turn that off when you're hitting the beach. The water just looks incredible. If you've never been to the south coast of WA, put it on your bucket list because the water here is just something else. It's just this beautiful, like turquoise sort of water, but it's wild. It's got, like, you know, the rushing foam of the, you know, the crashing waves and that sort of stuff, and it just looks gorgeous. I mean, this would be a really difficult place to get stuck and to have to stay here and survive the elements. It would absolutely be horrible, but passing through, it just looks amazing, and I love it every time I come down the south coast. It's a magical place, absolutely magical. So we've made it to the mouth of the Gardner River. Cruise has done very well. Beach has been with a bit hit and miss, and the river's flowing. I've just had a bit of a walk, and it feels really firm, which is either a really good sign or a complete red herring. I'm not too sure yet. But the water from the ocean and the river is both flowing. So yeah, it's a very, very long detour to come back, to go back and change direction. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and cross it, find the firmest spot. Seems to be the mouth, if you time it between the waves. We'll give it a go. What's the worst could happen? There's a number of car tracks on the other side as well, coming from Windy Harbour. This one in particular leads down to the water, but I don't know if he backed up or not, so I can't see a track on the other side. So I don't know, let's give it a go. Wasn't even worth filming. So, it's lunchtime. I want to eat. I want to get out of this weather. Cook up some food. So I'm going to look for a spot to get off the beach. Hopefully head up into the bush or the dunes or something. Find somewhere a bit more protected. And then show you my favourite camping lunch to make on the road. Well, I found my own lagoon. It's pretty cool. Doesn't have a name on the map, so it's going to be mine. And I'm going to make some lunch. Let me show you. Right, lunchtime. I was going to do a bit of meal prep this morning when I was making breakfast, but the wind and everything started coming in and it looking a bit horrible. So anyway, we're a bit on the back foot. Anyway, I'm going to make some yummy toasted sandwiches, and not just any toasted sandwiches. These are post taco / burrito night sandwiches. They're fantastic. Usually you make your taco mince and that sort of stuff, or burrito mince for your dinner, and you end up with so much left over. It's like, oh, what are you going to do with it? The best thing you can do, turn it into toasted sandwiches. So this morning I started, and didn't get around to finishing, frying up some onions. So just some onions in a fry pan, a little bit of butter, let them get all nice and toasty and golden and soft. And once that's done, you can add your mince. So I've just got a little packet of mince here. Picked it up on the supermarket from on the way through. I'm going to add the mince directly onto there. The other thing you're going to need, some taco seasoning. Obviously there's a lot of different options you can use this. I just use the standard one, works pretty well. Right, throw the mince in. Now obviously this is a sort of meal prep and stuff that you could do at home, because once you've cooked this, you've got a number of days before it starts to go off. So having plenty of time to use it while out in bush makes things so much easier. You can obviously do toasted sandwiches on the fire and that sort of thing. And if I could have a fire, hell yeah I would. But unfortunately, I can't have a fire at the moment. So we're using the induction cooker, which has been really hit and miss this trip. Concept of it is fantastic. This particular one, which of course is the cheapest one you can get from Kmart, because I thought, you know what, let's start cheap and work our way up, is hits an error code, like over temperature I think it is. It's like the surface of the induction cooktop gets too hot and then it just shuts itself off, which is really annoying. Then you sort of wait a few minutes, wait for it to cool down, turn it back on, and the cycle continues. So I'm probably going to try out a different brand of induction cooktop and see whether or not it's an issue just generally. Maybe it's the pans I'm using. This is the second type of pan that I've used for this sort of cooking, and same issue as the previous one. So yeah, we'll try out some different ones later. So while that's cooking in, add my taco seasoning. We're going to throw a little bit of water in with that too, I think. Just to help that seasoning sort of mix in with everything, so it doesn't get stuck all in one spot. The water will evaporate, but it just helps to spread the seasoning through all the meat and the onion. All right, I'm going to let this cook, and I'll get back to you. All right, so now that our meat's all done, I'm going to move our cooktop aside, pull out our next goodie. This has actually been the best, ever since I've got like a proper inverter setup, this has been the best thing I've got for my camping setup, is a little sandwich press. Now which sandwich press you get is really dependent on your inverter setup, your battery setup, that sort of stuff, because some of them can be quite minimal and draw next to no power and provide next to no heat, and others you can draw huge amounts of power, like your ones at home, which sounds fantastic, but obviously you need an inverter setup to be able to handle all that. This one is just a cheap one from Kmart, but it works fantastic. It only draws, I think it's about 1100 watts. 1000 watts, there you go. It's a 1000 watt sandwich press, and it works really, really well. And the best thing is, I'm not that precious with it, you know what I mean? I think it cost me about 30 bucks to buy this, and if I use it and it works, wonderful, and if it breaks, not the end of the world. So we'll get that warming up. I've got some bread here prepared, but I've buttered one side. That way you get maximum crispiness. You don't want to go overboard, otherwise it'll all fall out the sides when you put it in the sandwich press. And the last ingredient, which will come as no one's surprise, you need some cheese. You can use the crumbled stuff. I like using slices, just makes it easy, especially camping. One size fits all. So we're going to put a big slice. You know what, we're going to put a bit extra. 1.5 slices of cheese. You only live once. And these are now ready for the sandwich press. Pop them in. Oh yeah. Look at that. And I've found usually 2 to 3 minutes on this, and you get some nice and crispy. So our toasted sandwiches are just about ready. I'm just going to unplug it all so it can all stay warm while we do our last thing, which is get dinner ready. Seems a little bit early, doesn't it? But we are going to use our friend the travel buddy again to make some chicken. What we're going to do, same as before, going to make a bit of a bed of alfoil for our travel buddy. Now we did have a little bit of leakage last time, so might use a little bit more of this, another wrap. Ooh. I've preheated the travel buddy, which is great, but geez, it's warm. Right, so for dinner we're going to have some satay chicken. I've got some lovely chicken thighs here, free range, tastes better supposedly, and we're going to whack these straight into our travel buddy. I've got 4 of them here, which will be plenty enough for me. The next thing I'm going to do, bit of marinade, give these a good coating. I just want enough to cover them and help them swim, but I don't want them drowning in it, if you know what I mean. So we're just going to go, that's about half a bottle, 2/3 of a bottle. Just coat them. So now our toasties are done. Can eat up. These are the best thing to have, especially on like a winter's day. You're out bush, on the coast, wherever you might be. Nothing cheers you quite like these. They're fantastic. I'm going to eat these up, enjoy this view for a bit, and then we're going to keep pushing on. See where we end up. See you soon. I'll just give you a quick update. So I've been driving for nearly 2 hours now. I went, oh, we'll head towards Nannup, and then I know of a few little spots I wanted to go and check out. And then I went, hey, let's go off in the bush and have a look around here too. And anyway, now I'm in the middle of nowhere. On my way to Nannup, but lots of forestry roads, lots of this carry forest. No reception, and just following my nose, really. Hoping I'm going in the right direction. So yeah, I mean, this is part of exploring, I suppose. Not knowing where you're going, not knowing where you'll end up. We'll see. Anyway, you guys will find out once I'm there. So yeah, I'm going to keep cruising. You guys keep cruising. I'll see you soon.
Several bad puns later.
Well, we did it. Finally. This is a hidden gem, which even I didn't know was here. I was on my way to find another place. This lovely little track, nothing difficult, leads down to the river. Now this is the river that runs between Nannup and Balingup. It's not much at the moment, it's pretty dry, so the water's lower than it would otherwise be. But look, there's a decently big flat grassy space. There's the water, actually decently deep, but you can just imagine it's meant to be a lot better when it's in full flow. And there, prime position. This would make a fantastic campsite. I don't know what it is, but we've travelled 2 hours north of where I was this morning, and it's now 32 degrees at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and the wind has picked up a lot, and with this dry bush around, it's a tinderbox for bad things, if you know what I mean. So I'm being very, very cautious. Lots of roos around as well. Well, we've come to the end of this trip. It's been fantastic. I've really enjoyed getting out just on my own, exploring, looking down all the little tracks, seeing where things are. And look, there was a pretty high ratio of things not turning out. I reckon I went down probably about a dozen tracks that you guys didn't see, and they were just overgrown, scratchy, led nowhere. Is what it is. You can't set the camera up for all of them, unfortunately, but when you do, you find some place like this, which is fantastic. I think going forward, the whole Mount Franklin National Park seems like a really good place to explore further. There seems like there'd be a lot more little nooks and crannies down there to explore, find some little campsites, places of interest, that sort of thing. And I think especially in the winter months and even in spring when all the wildflowers start coming out, that would be the time to go. That would be absolutely fantastic. But at a time like now where it's all dry, I don't have to worry about flooded tracks, any of that sort of stuff. It's great to get out and go and explore and just see what's out there. Broke Inlet was fantastic. I really like that northern point. I'll definitely be back there at some point. And the Gardner River was pretty good. Anyway, but we're here. We're here now. I think we're about 15 Ks from Nannup, and that's probably the biggest clue I'll give you. Get out here, find this spot. It's fantastic. I'm definitely going to be back, and really looking forward to camping here and being able to sit here and watch the river and maybe make a little fire or something. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. All right, well, I'm going to get moving, but thank you guys very much for watching. If you want to support the channel even further, head over to the Patreon page, which will be down in the description. I've also got a merch page, which you'll find the link down in the description below. And from there, you can buy your shirts, stickers, patches, and all of it goes 100% through to supporting the channel and helping make more videos like this, which is fantastic. So thanks very much. I'm going to start making some dinner. This wind is getting crazy. See where the night takes us, hey? Thanks guys, I'll catch you next time on Off-Road Crusader. Cheers.